Wait, I didn't want to be a live scene there. I'm starting soon. All right, Richter's in the house. Kevin Keller's in the house. Lots to talk about tonight. Let's see here. This is Comic on the Couch in the chat. Mary's crying. Let's see if we are all systems go here. Mrs. Comic, are you in there yet?
No.
Mrs. Comic has joined the Wahoo. Here we go. Mary's crying. Yes, she is. There's more about that later on. Let's see. Why, hello everyone. Happy New Year and all that jazz. You know who I am. I'm here on my sofa, and Mrs. Comic is over there in the chat. I've been away. I've been busy. So nice to be streaming again. Mary is crying in the other room, and I'm not crying, but I wish she would come right in. Richter, starting things off here. That's fantastic. Go for 2 hours. I didn't even start yet, for crying out loud. Let me get adjusted here. So much fun stuff to talk about. I'm going to use my cheater notes here. I made a New Year's resolution for myself to stop jumping to conclusions about shit that I think I know that I don't know, because mostly everything that I think I don't know, and I go nuts over the cuckoo's nest, and then when I find out everything there is to know about that, then I go, oh, sorry, I didn't know. And one of those things, most of those things are related to show business. Tomorrow night is my annual Arts Quest show at Steel Stacks. I typically sell out, and I have a nervous heart attack every year because I go up against the Eagles playing football on TV, and then the one year they moved the game from 4 to 8, and I usually eke out a sold out show going up against the Eagles. Me triumphantly thrilled this year that the Eagles are not playing tomorrow night at my Arts Quest show. Ticket sales are way down low this year, but I've had a good run, and show business, it's kind of crazy because I haven't really started my show yet, but things are moving in a positive direction. But everything that we thought we knew, show business, comedian wise, a lot of that has changed. And so, me booking shows again, there's clubs that don't even exist anymore, and now I'm trying to find a venue at State College, and so I just threw it on my social media. I'm getting a lot of action and hits, but then again, where I need to not jump to some conclusions is I assume that anybody wants to book me knows everything about running a comedy show. It's a college town, State College, so I'm getting a lot of offers from venues that actually don't even have any chairs. Because one place capacity is 207. It didn't say seating capacity, it said capacity. And then when I read through the fine print, what might, people for comedy, they want to sit down and watch the show. So what's the seating capacity? And it turns out that went from 207 down to 64 if they needed a chair. A hookah lounge would like to book me in State College. I wrongly thought they only had seating for 30 or 40, so I smart mouthed them, and they said, well, our capacity is 157. Again, chairs factor into everything. As soon as my audience wants to sit down and I want to sit down, the seating capacity goes way buck down. So things are moving in the right direction, but it's kind of crazy. If you're in the Lehigh Valley, you can make it to my Arts Quest show tomorrow night. That would be fantastic. And other stuff going on here. I don't know if you made it into the chat yet. I've been whoring my friend. You guys know Crenshaw. Richter is always busting my balls to call Crenshaw when he's not here. And I wasn't going to call him tonight because I was thinking possible Crenshaw might be in Hawaii. So let's give it up for Crenshaw. Crenshaw is working on a project in Hawaii. He's not there yet, but he's going to be going soon. it's I don't know anything about it except that he's a friend of ours and he's a great guy. And when you're trying to raise money for something creative, you just you beg like me. That's really what you do. And I'm used to begging for myself. And in the spirit of Christmas and in New Year and all that fun stuff, uh, I'm begging on behalf of Crenshaw. And I know it is set in Hawaii, Maui. That's all I really know. And I'm guessing they don't really have many opportunities for guest Amish comedian on a Hawaiian based show. Although I do have a Hawaiian shirt that kicks ass, I don't have a grass skirt yet. But check this shit out. I do have right here a pair of vintage Maui Jims. 25 fucking years old these suckers are. I actually forgot that I had them. I must have bought them when I had a good career and could afford Maui Jim sunglasses. Now, there's these nose pads on these things, and for whatever reason, Maui Jim's nose pads are unfindable. They are completely not replaceable. But Maui Jim tells you that they have like a lifetime warranty on free replacement of these. So I thought, yeah, what the hell? So I filled out the form, and they said um, these are no longer available. But duh, 25 years old. So they wanted me to take pictures of my phone of the nose pads, which I did, and then they said we don't know if we can match it up based on this picture. Please send us the Maui Jim sunglasses without the nose pads, and we will have our sunglasses wizard put them nose pads on for you and send them back. It's like $9 shipping, and so I did it. And then I got another message back that said these are discontinued. I know, and our crack staff cannot put on nose pads. So Maui Jim headquarters, and I mocked them because they gave me an offer. They said, because we can't fix these for you, we are willing to give you a 50% off coupon if you buy a new pair of Maui Jims. They're like fucking $400 a pair now. But we will be keeping your vintage Maui Jims. And I fucking lost my mind. You're gonna take my 25-year-old vintage Maui Jims that's probably worth more than my TV in this house and keep them, and I get a coupon. Is that what we're talking about? And then yeah, well, that's the dumbest fucking thing I ever heard in my life. So send them back. And then I tweeted a mock at Maui Jim Twitter, and then they shook up the system, and somehow the tech wizards at Maui Jim found a way to put fucking nose pads on these. So there you go, Crenshaw. When I come to see you in Maui, I will be rocking vintage Maui. So now back to Crenshaw's show. I don't really know anything about it, but in the link for this live stream tonight, up in the description somewhere, there should be a link up there to go check out Crenshaw's. Is it Maki? Is that what it is? It's there's a GoFundMe, and when you're trying to raise money for anything in show business, it's just horrible. Because I've complained about this before. There's so many needy causes in the world, but entertainment, man, we can't make stuff if we don't have money to make stuff, right? So there's this thing right now, and it probably seems like a lot of fun to send Crenshaw to Hawaii, but yeah, that definitely sounds like fun. So I think I want to come along to Hawaii with Crenshaw. So check it out. If there's any questions, he's in the chat. I don't really know anything about the show, but they're trying to get going, and there is a link to the thing, and Crenshaw can steer you to the right YouTube channels and all that stuff. And I have some other tech wizards that told me it would be unscrupulous of me to try to put a hack into the Maki GoFundMe so the money funneled back to me. So it was just a dumb idea that I was thinking, since ticket sales are light for tomorrow night, that I would do, but I won't do that. So there's all that stuff here. It's been crazy. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. We had a magnificent holiday, and one of the things that I figured out this year, that I figure out every year, is that one of the problems with Christmas is there's just basically at its root too much to do. There's too much to do. It's not just getting gifts for people. We already have too much to do. Was getting Crenshaw off to Maui for Maki Maki and getting my tickets sold and live stream and Richter's bourbon balls and Clee sisters in the house. We already have way too much to do. Then you pile on Christmas yet, and it's 30 days, and we have to. And then you have to start to figure out where you have to be at a certain day and time, when you have to be home in case people are coming to see you, and when you're going off to see someone else, who's going to be there that you might be exchanging gifts with, because then you can eliminate a stop one other place by doing, everything there. So we had one of those Christmas Eve, and we had a big family get together, families coming in from all over the place, but we had to be merciful to each other. This is a great relationship when you, for Christmas, for people, you'll ever say, let's just don't fucking exchange any gifts at all. Let's do that. So we had a mix of that and a mix of people we were exchanging gifts with. So then we thought it would become awkward to exchange gifts with the people we were exchanging gifts with in front of the people that we were not exchanging gifts with. So then we decided to have like a parking lot cartel Christmas gift exchange, and I highly recommend that. It was really fucking cold, but we're out in the cold shuffling things, and I think a few things went into the wrong cars, but that was fun excitement right there. I had my day after Christmas show in Sellersville. Nice full house, one of the best turnouts ever. Maya Theater New Year's Eve, once again. Kerpow, Arts Quest. I, you just don't know. You do not know in this business. So I always figure shit out at Christmas time, but I'm sorry that I figured out, and I'm rather proud of this one though. New Year's Eve day, I discovered, or I should blame the trolls in my idea hallway, that the cliche, quintessential New Year's Eve song, Old Lang Syne, is the most depressing, saddest funeral song that there ever is. And the whole rest of New Year's Eve is a party on ice. It's just, let's party it up. Where are you going for New Year's Eve? What are you going to do? Pop the champagne, put on the silly glasses, the noisemakers. Woo! What are we going to use for music? Let's do this really sad song where it poses the question, should old acquaintance be forgot? We haven't forgotten about them yet, but let's revisit that this evening as we say goodbye to one year and hello to the next. Should old acquaintance be forgotten? And then the song just gets so fucking sad. So I rebelled at the New Year's Eve show at the Emmaus Theater. I tricked my audience into singing Old Lang Syne. I came out and I had us all doing, should old acquaintance be forgot? And then I said, what the hell's the matter with you? We got to upgrade that song. I would like to have something with more pop and more fun. I have been workshopping two different choices in Iggy Pop song, but I went with the Bowie, and my current New Year's Eve song was going to be, I'm an alligator. I'm a mama papa coming for you. I'm a space invader. I'll be a rock and rollin' bitch for you. And that's how I was feeling about presenting myself New Year's Eve. I wanted to be a rock and roll bitch for them. And so, probably not very popular start off the New Year's show with a stream trying to get rid of Old Lang Syne, but there you have it. So that was a lot of fun there. Here we go. I have further gone down the theory of life that women are smarter than men, but men are assholes. But I also figured out it's not our fault. Going way back to the days of the bazooka gum, where they had the rappers and they encouraged us, ladies, this is why we are the way we are. If we saved up 300 of these rappers, we could get X-ray specs and see women naked. And there was the cartoon on the gum of the silhouette of the woman that she was stacked, and these were kids. And if you chew up enough gum and send them $1, then you set these glasses, and you'll be able to see women naked. And I, for one thing, they don't work. I mean, I don't even know where they are anymore. Crenshaw, you must have a pair. You know they don't work. And second of all, we were kids, for crying out loud. They were teaching the kids, and then you could actually, a kid could go around and offer gum to girls and women that he thought he would like to see naked. They could help chew. The perversion is just a fucking horrible thing. So it's not our fault. We are the way we are. And again, I figured something else out in the Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life. 10-year-old George Bailey is a little fucker. He's a little dickhead, is what he is. 10-year-old Donna Reed comes into the ice cream place and flirts with him and basically says, dude, when we get older, I can be your prom date and you won't have to figure out any of that awkward shit. Let's just have a Sunday, but no coconut. And nitwit, 10-year-old George Bailey goes, no coconut? What's wrong with you, brainless? Don't you know where coconuts come from? I'm going to be a famous explorer and go explore where coconuts come from. Like Crenshaw's going to Maui. That's where they get coconuts down there. And I might have like 3 or 4 harems and a couple of wives. So 10-year-old George Bailey taught us that if a girl was with us and she didn't want coconut, we should call her brainless and threaten her with exploration of harems and 4 or 5 wives. So again, this is in no small part the reason why we are as assholish as we are. Let me take a break here. Hang on. Here's to me. I got nothing clever to say about that. All right. Moving right along here. Fun stuff, show and tell. New release, Iggy Pop, right there. Never mind that. He has enough money. Send Crenshaw to Hawaii. Never mind that. Erase. And so we got that. Back to my notes here. Oh. I'm feeling good about the comedy that I've been presenting on stage. Things keep moving and switching and bobbing and going this way and that. Happy with my show. My fans seem to be happy with my show. I don't trust show business. That's the problem. So I have not given up on this idea that Mrs. Comic and I can hit the lotto. And so we'll throw this out into the universe so there's no greed involved. Let's say hypothetically $963 million would fall on our laps. We would just go buy a whole bunch of houses for people in our family and quite a few for us, because as we look around here, I noticed, and Mrs. Comic noticed, that we have too much stuff. We have too much stuff in this house, and we're not pack rats, we're not hoarders. It's just, you just have stuff, and then you get more stuff. And as you think about buying 19 different houses, once we hit the lotto, we oddly enough are drawn to like little hippie cottages in the woods where we couldn't even bring all this stuff with us. This stuff would have to go some other place. So my brain has been thinking about like downsizing, because hypothetically speaking, we win the lotto, we get the hippie cabin, and we don't have a place to hold 300 DVDs that we really don't watch anymore because we stream them because I'm too lazy to put the disc in. So the fun thing is when you have a dream and when you have a vision, it's good to actually try to visualize it. That sounds dumbass, but it's what we do. And so Mrs. Comic and I, every so often, we go around and look at houses, kind of, sort of, within however far we could drive, 30, 40 minutes. And we're not necessarily looking for that house, but we're trying to figure out the different kinds of things we would want in a house if we were building like a cool house. And oddly enough, I think we were both surprised that we would like a small hippie cottage in the woods. And so we went to look at a place on Route 611 in Easton. It's perfect. It looks a little shabby on the outside from the pictures, but on the inside, it's us. It's so hippie. So now when we got there, this I should have went. I should have streamed live. We drove up and down 611 8 or 9 times for the dumbest of reasons. We found the house. It's not that we couldn't find the house. We couldn't find a way to get to the house. The house was over there, and there was a fucking guardrail, and then a hill, and then a little bit of water, then another hill, and then the house, and then the scenic view behind that. So when they put the house on the site, they photoshopped the first water in front of you, and they also photoshopped out a house that was this far away from the other house, and that man was out with a broom and a dog, and when he was sweeping his front porch, his elbow was actually going to be hitting Mrs. Comic and I's hippie dream house on the water. Now, we, I admit I'm spoiled rotten. There's a whole bunch of things I would like. I would like fireplace. I got lazy now. I'd like everything on one floor, so I don't have to go up and down the fucking steps. But I'm flexible in a lot of things. One thing I am not flexible on is the house must have a road to get to the house. There was actually no fucking way to get across that water. There was no way, and we thought maybe you have to drive down the road and pay an angry pappy $3 to drive down his dirt road to get there. There was no fucking angry pappy. There was no spot on 611. I had to kind of like push my way into a guardrail where I think there had been an accident. If there wasn't an accident, I wouldn't have been able to fit the Subaru in there. So I put in there a little bit, and then I went and took the pictures, and I noticed, I looked down, I was going to yell at the guy and say, how do you get a car there, Mr. Elbow hitting the dream house hippie cottage? But I didn't want to start any kind of conversation with him. Because he was no fucking car down there. He had no fucking car. There wasn't even car tracks on the road. There was a kayak. There was a fucking kayak, and that explained everything. I want to have a house where I can get a pizza delivered, and it doesn't have to come in a kayak. I don't think that's too much to ask. Now, that took a whole day, and we were determined to be able to figure out a place to stop and see it, and then we did that. So then Mrs. Comic went and found another place for us, and down the other direction again, awesome hippie cabin cottage in the woods. It's not far in the woods because I don't want to get murdered. And in the listings, it just said 0 bathrooms. Not 1.5, not half a bathroom, not 3/4 of a bathroom, 0 bathrooms. And the pictures of the place are really fucking cool. There's a kitchen in there. You could hang out. I could write a book in there, and no bathrooms. And I'm foggy as to how they believe that would work. I mean, but I think they would think there's an appeal to the Amish with the outhouse and all that, but there was no fucking bathrooms, and they don't really. The place that didn't even have a road didn't actually say they didn't have a road. They said you can bicycle downtown and you can kayak, and they make it seem like that major thing that's wrong, like no road to the house or no bathrooms, is just like nothing, like just no, absolutely nothing. So then my turn. So then I found a place, and we didn't go look at it, but actually had a bathroom. And not only did it have a bathroom, it had a urinal, like a men's stand up and piss urinal, because it was listed as a house, but it was a bar, and so that had some appeal to me because I was thinking I could just have shows right in my fucking home, and there's a urinal right there and all that. So we're really entertained at how horrible it is to look at different houses and stuff. There's some good thug offers out there too that it said cash deal only, bring money, bring proof that you have money. That's fucking weird. Like to go look at a house and then can we drive across, because this house actually has a road to it and a bathroom, but they don't want to see it unless you come in there with like suitcases of money to prove that you could actually buy the fucking house. So that's some crazy shit right there. More and more, And all this stuff reminded me in my show to put Property Brothers back in, because that's what we want to go on Property Brothers right now. Those two handsome sons guns. Like I say, I'm not gay, but they test me every episode. Um, and so and then the the next mock on the house hunting shows is Tiny House. That made a comeback on a New Year's Eve show. And if you haven't seen Tiny House, it's magical. People go on there are the dumbest sons of bitches ever walked the earth. Every episode, they walk in and they go, it seems a little small. Yes, it seems a little small. The show is fucking called Tiny House, you stupid motherfucker. It's not called Doctor Who's TARDIS house, where you just walk in a fucking phone booth and there's 19 different fucking dimensions there. So right now though, Tiny House is winning. Mrs. Comic and I were thinking we'll get a tiny house and just set it somewhere where there's a road. So that's some fun stuff going on with us. And let's see here. Oh, this is if this isn't funny, it's my fault, but it's also Mrs. Comic's fault, because I am silly and immature most of the time around here, and then if she laughs at a thing, it possibly fills me with false confidence that that thing might be good for whatever. So we're theater geeks, and we love Mandy Patinkin, and he was on Criminal Minds. He's in a lot of Broadway shows. Sunny in the Park with George. He gives great TikTok and great Instagram. Follow Mandy Patinkin and his wife. They are really entertaining. They're so much fun, and they just do stupid shit. They took their dog for a walk, and he got stuck in the leash, and instead of helping him, his wife just filmed it for Instagram. So they're a lot of fun. He's on tour and he's singing and he's telling stories. I told Mrs. Comic, I said, I would actually like to see that if his piano player would just bust into the theme song from Criminal Minds, and then he would come out and profile the audience for killers. That I would love that if he would freestyle. But if you haven't seen Mandy Patinkin in Criminal Minds, they are the first couple of seasons. It's amazing. He'll just walk into a room and he'll know who the killer is, and everyone's in complete terror of the killer except Mandy Patinkin. He'll go right up and go, you think you're tough, but you're not tough. You can't get it up, can you? You're impotent. I can tell you that. You're impotent, and he's impotent, and he's impotent. It's the same with you. You peckerheads all the time. You're impotent, and then you decide to become serial killer. So I would like to see Mandy Patinkin live with his piano player doing the Criminal Minds theme, and then he could profile a couple of possible serial killers who were strong-armed into going to see Mandy Patinkin, and they didn't really want to. But again, that's just the kind of thing. That's lower on my wish list than winning the lottery, but it's still, there it is for all to enjoy. But check out his social media. That's a lot of fun stuff. Mrs. Comic and I still run around and play Pokemon Go, and I love this woman so much. She thinks up ways to here's what we're doing. I was thinking up a name for the team. If you play Pokemon Go, there's a 50 coin day limit. They're free. You got to go around. I call them poke dicks. That's wrong, but that's what we call them. Uh, and you put them into different gyms. And if the gym has weaklings in there, you can go to the gym and beat them up, and then put your poke dick in that gym. And there's three team colors: yellow, blue, and red. And if you're in a weird gym, you could be stuck in there for 45 days.
You might want to say goodnight to Carl. He's from Ireland, and he popped in to say hey.
Carl from Ireland. Mm-hmm. I'm having a Guinness. Go to bed. We're saying goodnight to Carl from Ireland.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're sorry to lose you. Carl would be 5 hours ahead of us, probably.
1 a.m.
1 a.m. So there you go. Ireland. That's badass. Cheers. Yeah. I'm a 5 gulp Guinness guy, but I won't do it tonight. See, Carl knows what that means. That's fantastic. Nighty night, Carl. Okay, what the hell was I talking about before we say goodnight to Carl?
Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon, right? Okay, so when you go and you beat up a gym and then you put your Pokedex in there, they got to stand for 24 hours. Then you get to 50 coins. Anything over that is wasted. So Mrs. Comic found out that there's weird gyms around the town that nobody goes to, and people are stuck in there. Once you're in there, you can't get out unless somebody beats the shit out of you to throw your ass out of there. So we go on these little Robin Hood excursions where we go out to where a gym where it looks like somebody's been stuck in there for 42 days, and we club the fuck out of them and we free them, and they get their 50 coins. But then we don't take over the gym. We let it be. It's just the color. It's just a white gym, and which whoever poke dick color gets in there next, they take over that gym. And I call it like Liam Neeson mode. We have a very specific, so I can't even say it, specific set of skills designed to free poke dicks from other gyms. Uh, because it's, if you play the game, it's odd to see a gym that's white. As you go, that's weird. Somebody took over this gym, but they didn't put a poke dick in there. It's white. It's very odd. Then we figured out they didn't want to leave their poke dick in there for 38 days, waiting for Team Amish Comic and Mrs. Comic to be in Liam Neeson mode to free them from the poke dick gym. So we're having a lot of fun there. I don't think we'll be riding tonight since I started drinking too early. Let's see here. So I'm running down my list of fun stuff to talk about. Bibbity bobbity. Oh, this is not really. There's no comedy here. It's just me. I don't know if I'm pissing and moaning. We love this warm weather. We do. It's very nice. But what I discovered just today now was the warm weather in the winter actually makes your house colder because you know it's warm out, and then you go, fuck it, I'm not going to put the heat on because it's warm out. And then the house gets really fucking cold, and then when it gets a little bit cold out there, you actually, I have it set up right now so it's actually warmer outside than it is inside because I don't have the fucking heat on. So I'll have to figure that out. And I don't know if anybody else goes through that, but oh boy, it's so nice out. Yeah, then that makes the house cold inside. So there's that. Bibbity bobbity boo. Let's see. We want to downsize so we can fit in the hippie. Imagine hippie house. Let's see here. Don't. Oh. My pick for Carl. Are you still with us? Do we lose Carl? Is he still there?
I think he might have gone.
He probably left, but in keeping with the spirit of Carl and Ireland and Guinness, a movie pick I have for you peckerheads. I mean in a nice way. It's called The Banshees of Inisherin. I'm not sure how you say that. It's based on a Martin McDonagh play, and he's very dark and depressing, but also really funny. So it's a kind of a, if you're laughing at some of the stuff, then you're sick like me. And the best way to describe that movie is in its essence, it's set in Ireland, so it's gorgeous, and it's in the middle of nowhere, Ireland. But it's basically about two guys who were friends but are no longer friends. And that's all I have to say about that. So, and if you do watch that, make sure you're heavily sedated, because I mean it's an acquired taste. So there's that. That's going on there. Bibbity bobbity boo. Criminal Minds. Mandy Potemkin. Let's see. Mass Theater. Property Brothers. That's all we got. That's all we got. I mean, Mrs. Comic took my suit to the dry cleaner 9 times to find one that was open. So thank Mrs. Comic. If you write any of my recent shows and I didn't smell as horrible as I usually do. So that turned out to be much more of an adventure than it should have been. So again, she takes the greatest care of me. There's a smoothie here that I should be drinking instead of the Guinness. Mm-hmm. should have figured out a way to Skype into this show Crenshaw heading to Maui and Carl over there in Ireland.
And Richter. Susan.
And Richter. Well, it won't be long before Richter's just sitting here in the seat that Crenshaw should be sitting in too. So now let me check my notes here. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. See, this stuff always seems funnier on stage. Okay. Oh, football is coming up, and I don't know when anything's playing. I know that there's stuff about football. I can do a 35-minute rant on football, but I'm not going to. See, Crenshaw says something. Let's call him, right? That's funny. Crenshaw said we should call Richter. I think that's a hell of an idea. Let's do it.
He said, please don't.
Please don't. He said, please don't. See, Crenshaw, you can't have it both ways.
Please don't talk football.
You can't tell me. What?
He said, please don't talk football.
Oh, please don't talk football. Yeah, but it's good mocking stuff. All right, so I thought you meant don't call Richter, so that means I can call Richter. Let's see here. Richter's in my phone. He's probably not going to answer. Richter. My call has been forwarded to an automatic voice system. So there you have it. We tried to call Richter. He's not available. And I leave a message. Hi, Richter. It's not my fault. I'm streaming live. And Crenshaw said that I shouldn't call you. And I thought he meant not call you, but he meant not talk about football. And since I went to voicemail, I'm very embarrassed. And now I'm like George Costanza, and I'm going to have to get this tape back. Goodbye. As you can see here, I've lost control of the show. But, see, Crenshaw, when I talk football, it's all in the form of complaints. What I don't like is when the game is mathematically impossible for one team to win, and they don't just throw in the towel like in boxing and all that shit. If the score is 93-3 and there's 2 minutes left in the game, this whole thing where they hike it and take a knee and call a timeout, fuck that shit in a bucket of goo. And that's it for sports. I mean, that's a wrap on sports right there. So, are there any questions here this evening? Besides, should we call Richter and not talk about sports? There's no questions in the house. The cat's not here. Nobody's cooperating here. Richter didn't pick up. Crenshaw didn't want me to talk about sports. Let's see. Maui Jim story that came and went. All right, I got some more notes here, so just strap in there. Here we go. X-ray specs. Let's see.
Crenshaw said, why are you so close to the camera? It's scary.
Well, I'm looking at my notebook. All right, here, hang on. That's a valid point. That's better, but now we see the paneling that we were trying to. Well, I can get rid of the paneling too. Watch this. Boy, if it were only that easy to get rid of paneling.
A little more.
Well, we don't have to get rid of all the paneling.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Or I think we did it. Now we can put me in darkness too. I mean, if I'm too close, that would have been a solution, just to put me in darkness, and I'm not nearly as close as I am when I'm in dark. I didn't even think about that. I wouldn't have to get up.
Let's see. Just help.
Well, I can put that back on. Right there. Well, now my strap's falling down. That's another problem. Let's see here. That's perfect. Okay, so now it's perfect except for one small detail. I don't have the slightest idea what to fucking talk about now. But now that we have the furniture properly arranged and Richter didn't pick up his phone, and let's see, Crenshaw, that's kind of funny. Um, I appreciate that. I believe that I am too close most of the time, also, and it really fucking scares me. And I would never invite you for this moment, Crenshaw, but in the morning when I look in the mirror, there's a fucking scream. Every day I wake up and every day I understand perfectly well why my people are against mirrors because it's this face in there and all this hair. This hair doesn't. I can't look this beautiful overnight. All this shit goes into. It's it's the most horrible thing. I thank you for that because now when I look in the mirror in the morning, I will look from the fucking farthest part of the bathroom away that I possibly can. That is fantastic. That's what friends are for. That's why you have friends who can say, man, you look too fucking scary up that close to the morning mirror. Why don't you step back and give yourself a little break for fuck's sake? That's valuable information. I could actually put a piece of tape where I believe is like a safe zone. See, oh fuck me, that's too close. I got it right there. All right, now flip. I had to make a note there. That's great. All right. Old Lang Syne, boom roasted. More Christmas shit. I can't. Tomorrow night at Arts Quest will be the grand finale of me being able to perform my We Survived Christmas therapy show, and I'm very much looking forward to performing Santa Claus is the whiniest bitch in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's one of my own personal favorites. It'll be sad to put that on the shelf until next year. But now we have 10-year-old George Bailey's a dickhead. That's new, so that'll get brought back to life. Let's see here. There's another thing why we're groomed to be assholes is in the It's a Wonderful Life. Their their team mascot is like a donkey, a jackass, and the men actually go around and go hee haw. So our muse is a jackass. So that I'm just saying, I'm trying to be good, but that's not my fault. There's a lot of conditioning I got to uncondition to get this hee haw jackass shit out of my system here. Let's see here, some more notes.
Susan said, I love the story about your crappy boss at the printer.
Who said that?
So many stories. Susan.
Oh, the crappy boss at the printer. Well, let's go right back to that. That's fantastic because Please Sister knows the history of my work life and my comedy career. When you start comedy, you don't make any fucking money. And as you can see now, even when you're a seasoned professional like me, you don't make any fucking money. So there was a point in my life I started stand-up comedy in 1991. I had the stand-up comedy thing was trying to be a job, but it was just starting. I had worked part-time at a video store where you rent VHS tapes, and that's a fantastic bribe there. Thank you very much. And that we had to rent VHS tapes, and the big fuckers, man, they had a porn room and all that shit. And then I had a day job at the screen printing shop for the shittiest money that ever there was. And the boss was really just not a nice man. That's just there's no simple way to put it. And so he bought also what I would call slumlord apartments over in Allentown that were so horrible. And I had to go over there and paint them. And I didn't sign up for that. I got the job here, like the kayak house, so I could just fucking kayak to work. I didn't want to have to fucking drive to Allentown and paint scary fucking apartments. So his idea was that we would go and paint. I would go and paint this apartment white, 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 And he was so cheap of a fucking prick. He did these 5-gallon things of white paint, and then there would be 2 empties, and I was instructed to take white paint and cut it 50% with water because paint tends to be thick. This man said this, and it was his fucking money and his. So, yeah, it tends to be thick, so it fucking covers. So, I'm over there painting things, and he actually had me paint the old porcelain sink that had cracks in it. He had me paint it with watered down fucking wall paint. Now, lots of you would argue with him and call him a dumb fuck. I knew he was a dumb fuck, and a dumb fuck cannot be changed from being a dumb fuck by saying you're really a dumb fuck. So you have 2 choices. You can work for the dumb fuck and do the dumb fuck shit the dumb fuck tells you to do, or you can say fuck you in a bucket of goo and go work for some other dumb shit. Now, he was showing this apartment while I was painting the bathroom, and I came out to get something, and the lady said, I didn't notice where the bathroom is. And he said, you were just in the bathroom. And she said, in the bathroom where that man with the beard was. Yes. So, this lady came into a room so horrible that my face must have been up Crenshaw close to scare her. Walked into a bathroom which was so fucking horrible, she didn't know it was a bathroom. So, please, sister, thanks for bringing back some of these nightmares. I'll be back in therapy. But what was happening then, the beauty of working for a dumb fuck is this. I like people to make money. I like things to go well for people. When I'm doing something for anybody, I try to put my all into it. That got totally destroyed there. I was starting a comedy career, so when I got ditched in a place in Allentown or wherever to fucking paint, I just went over my fucking set list for the Raja Theater in Reading. That's when I met George Carlin. I had my set lists all over the place, and then he would somehow come in later in the day and want to know how comes I didn't paint and I didn't get any painting done. So I got this fucking painting lesson from this man. He said the key is to let the brush do the work. And he showed me, he dipped it in, and he put the brush up high, and then the brush does the work by going down like this, see, and the brush does the work. So I humored him, and I thanked him, and then the next day he came back, and then he and I can't believe I said this and didn't get fired. He said, I came in and gave you a painting lesson yesterday, and you actually got less done today than you did yesterday. And I said, it wasn't me. I told the brush to do the work, and that lazy ass brush just sat there all fucking day long. You said let the brush do the work, and I did, and the brush didn't cooperate, and he just made a mad face at me, and that was fucking it. So now, since we have me on therapy watch right now, I will attempt to tell you one of the greatest, worst days in the history of my life at the horror place right there. If you have any place to go, just go, because once you start these therapy sessions of horrible things that happened to me in my past, there's the floodgates are open. So look out. When I got to this print shop, I'm a fucking good worker. I'm a good person. I actually worked 3-4 people out of their jobs because they were fuck ups, and I'm going to get stuff done. Crenshaw, when you're on a set with Crenshaw and he's working, he's fucking moving stuff and picking stuff up and getting shit done. That's me. Anything in the way is in the fucking way. So I actually made it so that he got rid of these people, and my life became harder, and my fucking paycheck didn't go up at all. And he was also a cheap prick, this man. So he bought a car from refurbished. I don't know if they're train wrecks or whatever. It's really a piece of shit. It's a lemon. Somebody has a lemon and they whatever. It's this Lincoln car, and it was a piece of shit, and it didn't start at all. So he was in a state of panic. His home office was 5 miles away from the shop. So I'm in the shop, 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a piece of shit company van that he also bought from the same guy. It was one of these old phone company vans where they had the mirror and the arm in the back, and then it's illegal to have those. So they ripped that out, and there was a fucking hole, and it was covered with like how you would cover a heating vent. So that was the company van that we delivered food in. I offered to take my wife and daughter for riding it the first day we had it, and they were afraid and they wouldn't even fucking get in this van. So he called me up in a panic and said, I gotta get the van over to his house in Vescoville right away because his Lincoln, it's cold and it's raining and it needs a jump. So I drove over there, there's jumper cables, and I jumped the Lincoln, and I said, maybe we should let this charge up a little bit. And he goes, I don't make any money having you stand here and watch a car jump. All right, suit yourself. So took the jumper cables off, put them in the shitty van, went back to the shop. By the time I got there, 19 messages on the answering machine. Get my ass back over there because the Lincoln didn't hold charge long enough and it's fucking dead again. And so now I went back over there, and by this time, he had already decided that he was going to take the shitty van, and and I would jump the Lincoln, and he would take the shitty van to this meeting, and so the shitty van actually died, like kind of sort of right there when I was trying to drive the Lincoln away. So he took the secretary's car that was at the house, and he started it up, and he was transferring all the papers into her car, and then I got yelled at again that he doesn't make any money while I'm watching him move boxes into this car. So I took, I believe, the shitty van back to the shop, and when I got there, again, there was a message that it had come right over because he, the dumb motherfucker, locked all his business papers and stuff in the secretary's car, which was running. Which was running. Now, car's running, and that's not his, it's the secretary's. Everybody's locked out of it. The company van is shitty. It's running, but I have it. The Lincoln needs another jump, but we have a car that's running, so that's no problem there. So he goes into the shitty van, and he goes off on his adventure, and I had to take the Lincoln and drive the secretary to her house in Emmaus so she could get her extra set of keys to come back to work and turn her fucking car off that was running with nobody in it. And the Lincoln died on Cedar Crest Boulevard in the rain with her on it. So I ran in the fucking rain from the high school to the middle of fucking Emmaus to get our family car, which I believe was his home on fucking 3rd Street, and drive back to Cedar Crest Boulevard and get her out of the Lincoln, and then drive her to her home, and then drive her back to the shop so she could unlock the car and shut her car off. And then I would go back to the Lincoln stuck on Cedar Crest with the jumper cables and try to jump the Lincoln, and that didn't work. So then I took the family car back home, and then I went and I called the tow truck to come and pick up the Lincoln on Cedar Crest Boulevard. And then the boss man called in to see what was going on, and I told him that story, which I just told you now. And he was fucking mad that I called a fucking tow truck and wasted fucking money. And then, about maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, he came in to work in the print shop and wanted to know every fucking thing I did. You didn't get any orders out. You didn't. The reason I didn't get anything done was that took the whole fucking day. When I got back to the shop, it was quarter of closing time. So thank you very much, Clee's sister, for this wonderful, horrible memory. This man, let me tell you, whoever you think you worked for that was bad, we did those fundraising programs that sells candy to the kids and all that. And he always had a Ralph Cramden scheme. There was always, if you did business with this guy, I'd feel for you. So when I first came to work for him, I was saying, well, this fundraising stuff. How comes you don't have all the sports teams in Emmaus and the high school? How come you don't have this? Nobody would answer me. And then I was pulled to the side and told these were sore subjects because he fucking dicked them over and cheated them, and nobody in this town would do fucking business with him again. So he would send me in the shitty van to a place on the other side of the is it the Ben Franklin Bridge down in Philly? Is that what that is? Whatever that is. So they're on their side. And so we were on, he had put them on old candy alerts. So when they got candy that was too old to sell to normal people, he would send me down there and put it in a shitty van and would bring it back and it would be ready to expire tomorrow. So now it took him a long time to unload this, and this was name brand candy. This is peanut butter cups and all shit, but it's just over its fucking date. And we had a horrible shed where the candy was kept because the print shop was too fucking hot from curing the t-shirts. It was kept out in the shed, and he was so excited he sold the candy. I was to go and load the candy, and in the stack, it was probably just a stack, maybe about 4 or 5 feet tall. It would fit on a dolly hand truck, but it's pretty fucking expensive, that many cases of candy. I noticed that there were ants walking around the top of the box. And so before I panicked, I pulled a couple of boxes out and sliced them. Ants were everywhere. They were all over. Now, normal people would throw that fucking candy out. But when I reported this to my boss, this is exactly what he said. We're not in the business of delivering ants. I knew that, but apparently it had to be said again. So I was tasked with trying to open up some bars that had foil and look and see if there were any ants in there. And it was the dumbest fucking thing. And that was another day wasted. So that was a fun. There were so many of his stories. Oh, this is how fucking dumb he is. I should devote a whole show to this motherfucker. I gotta compose myself. Okay. They've been around forever, but some of you who are as old as me might possibly remember a day when all the stamps that went on letters had to be licked. There were no self-sticking stamps. They had just been invented. And this stupid fuck tried to lick self-sticking stamps on a regular basis and ripped them right off. He always had a bloody lip. I thought he was picking fights with assholes in bars, and this went on for fucking a couple of weeks. And then finally, the secretary, whose car was running without her, I said, "What does he get drunk and get into fights in bars? It doesn't seem like him." She goes, "No, he doesn't understand that you can't lick a self-sticking stamp." And he just rips them off, and his fucking lip bleeds. And I ain't making any of this fucking shit up now, without giving any names. His daughters all played field hockey in Emmaus. If you know anything about Emmaus field hockey, Emmaus girls field hockey have been the undisputed heavyweight gold medal champions of the fucking country forever. For fucking ever. They did this for fucking ever. They never lose. They never lose. If you're on that team, you are the elite. You are. They just don't fucking lose. I don't know why. They don't fucking lose. So this guy went and his daughter played and another daughter played. So somehow he was in charge of like 2 or 3 other girls. There's like 10 and 5 girls went to one of these things, and then they played, and he kicked ass, and then they stopped, and to celebrate, he was going to treat them, the cheap prick, at a Pizza Hut, and he was unhappy with his service. So not only was he going to give the girl a bad tip, he decided it wasn't worthy of paying for the meal. So now when he got home with his 2 daughters and the 4 other daughters, the parents of the 4 daughters were waiting at their house to pick up their daughters, and the police were also there waiting to arrest him for leaving a Pizza Hut without paying. I believe that's as wonderful of a place to end my show as any. Unless there's any more questions, um, it's funny now. Now that I'm out of there. Well, I guess that's it. I'm getting too close. That's 6 daughters. It's pretty many. Yeah, we're tired. There's a disease. Let's see. See, sports come around too soon. Yeah, but that wasn't really a story about sports, Crenshaw. That was a story about a fucking asshole. That's what that was. There's a big difference there. Okay, one more bad boss landlord story. So he bought these shithole properties, and it was always half of a twin, and he never bought the whole twin. And I was in charge of painting all this shit, and I get fucking pissed off. Why didn't you fucking buy this one and that one so that when I come over to paint, it's easier for me? Like, my life being easier should be a consideration of how he buys houses. But his reasoning was is that he'd say neighbors tend to talk, and he knew he was a fucking douchebag. So if a douchebag landlord is here and then the neighbor has a different landlord, it's a better world for him than if they both have the same cocksucker of a fucking landlord. So I actually agreed with him on that logic because they would have stories to tell. On that particular day, I could hear all this shit in the old pizza box phone, and they'd all call the shop and they'd be fucking mad. And the man just moved into the place, and again, pounding rain. Some of the best stories are in pounding rain. Pounding rain. And I could hear the guy on the phone. He was mad. He had a place up in Whitehall, and he said, "When I moved in here, I specifically asked you if the water in the basement is a problem. Does water get in the basement? Because I have things. I don't mind putting them on skids, but you said it's not a problem. Every so often, there's a little trickle when it rains." And the man paused and he said, "I am standing in 3 feet of trickle. It's up to my fucking knees." So he was mad. So then I have to go over there on some of those things so he didn't get shot. So that was also kind of fun and not fun. And now here's some more fun. I had to go places in the shitty van in the days before Waze, but we didn't even have cell phones. You would have to figure out directions. You couldn't map quest them. We didn't have none of this fucking computer map questing shit. You would have to figure out directions and write them down and fucking drive to the place. And that was it. And then when you got where you were going, you could call whoever was expecting you to get there safely and go from there. So now I'm driving a shitty van up to Turnpike to go to a candy factory up in Moosic, and I got to pick up 500 tons of candy, which on previous trips got me fined when you go through the Turnpike thing, and then you go on a scale, and then we were over our limit, so he'd get fines all the time. So this thing broke down on the Turnpike on the way to getting candy. Now I had to go and find a place to call to come and rescue me, and also find a place where they would tow me, where I could call the boss and tell him that we'd broken down on a turnpike and we were towed to a gas station that was actually about a mile away from the Mahoning Valley Drive-In, which we now love, and we got Christmas gifts of Mahoning Valley Drive-In sweatshirts. So support them also if you don't want to send me money. So it was near there. He was pissed. He always wants me to hand the phone to somebody so he can yell at them, thinking that'll shake up the fucking system. That was again a whole nother day. And now I really didn't want to talk this long. Mrs. Comic, this is how much she loves you. The boom alarm went off, and she snuck over there and shut it off without my knowledge. But I saw her do it. I heard it happen. That was fucking 45 minutes ago. So she's on your team and keeping this thing going along. Now, bear in mind, I'm not making any of this shit up. So when you do a school fundraiser and food is being delivered, or if you order any sort of food, I believe the thing the food comes in is important. I believe if you're pulling into a school and you have a white serial killer's telephone van with a hole in the side and you're delivering food and the parents see this, I believe that kind of looks kind of fucking teeny tiny little bit bad. So, for reasons I couldn't tell you, this boss decided to expand our fundraising into the cheesecake world, which you, I love these bitches, they're dumb sons of bitches like me. You believe somebody would need to have a refrigerated van to move frozen cheesecakes from far places to other places, and so they would be frozen so when they get to the school they're still fucking frozen, and when the kids pass them out, no. My boss thought this piece of shit van with the hole in the back could move. He would calculate what time I would have to leave to drive up to a cheesecake factory in New York City on the Hudson River in one of those fucking buildings where Charles Bronson goes and whacks people in the head with a fucking roll of quarters and fucking go in there and load up the fucking cheesecakes and drive them to a school. He had this all fucking timed out with absolutely no plan if anything went wrong. No cell phones. I've been to this cheesecake factory before. I pull in and it's not even the whole building. It's like on like the ninth floor, but you got to go through all the fucking freight elevators and all that shit. SWAT teams everywhere. FBI, shields, machine guns. I fucking shit you not. They fucking had the thing was a fucking war zone. They were doing a raid of some sort of this fucking building, I thought, I'm a dumbass because I was thinking I'm gonna get fucking fired if I don't get these cheesecakes. So me, a dumbass, I'm telling the man with the shield and the fucking walkie-talkie, you understand, my boss is a real fucking douchebag, and if I don't get in there and get these fucking cheesecakes, all hell's gonna break loose. I got to at least get to a fucking phone. Can I at least get to a phone? And he was okay with that. He let me get to a phone. I'm not making any of this up, Crenshaw. And fucking SWAT teams, FBI, all that shit you see on TV. The guy let me get to a phone, a dialing phone, in nearby the secure downstairs area. Now, I called up this dickhead and explained to him I can't get in the building right now to get the cheesecakes because it's under lockdown and the FBI's here and I'm probably ain't allowed to tell you all this shit right now. And I don't, they're not telling me anything. They have shields up and machine guns and they're fucking the helicopters are flying around. I'm last on the list to be told what the fuck is going on here, okay? And then he said, put me on the phone with who's in charge. And there was a man next to me with a fucking FBI jacket on and a fucking bulletproof vest and a fucking automatic weapon and a helmet and a fucking shield. And I said, my boss would like to speak to you. And he said, Woody. And he just smiled at me and that was it. I'm there. He's a little busy now and he really can't talk to you. So I'm not making any of this shit up. So now, we arranged also for me to call the cheesecake people on the ninth floor to see if I could get up there just so I didn't have to hang out with the SWAT team. And they answered the phone and said, no, because we're the ones being raided. So that was the secure zone there. So I couldn't go up there. So that was the source of them being raided. So now I had to call my boss back and say, I can't get up there to go to plan B because the Cheesecake Factory is the criminals. These are, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Again, I was low on the list of people that needed to be told shit that's going on right now with the SWAT team and the FBI shit. And so now he decided he would then call up the Cheesecake Factory, and apparently the Cheesecake Factory's get along with each other. So that Cheesecake Factory in New York that was being raided made arrangements to call another Cheesecake Factory that they knew in Philadelphia, which made me wonder why the fuck weren't we shopping at the one in Philadelphia in the fucking first place? But that's neither here nor there. So now they decided between the two of them that that Philadelphia place would now deliver the cheesecakes to us, but somebody had to go there and get them. I was not allowed to leave because my horrible van was now part of the crime scene. So I had to be in there. So I had to call them back and say they're not going to just let me leave. Even though I didn't do anything, I pulled into a fucking active crime scene. Not making any of this up, Crenshaw. This shit happened to me. So he was pissed off, and he told me he was just going to get a U-Haul, and then he was going to drive there himself and pick up the cheesecakes, and I should meet him at the school. And I said, I'm not 100% sure the FBI will release me to get to the school by 4 o'clock that you hope. I'm hoping they will. I'm not. I can't even plead my case. I'm just going to have to roll a fucking dice, and when I get on the road, I'll give you a quick call and let you know. Well, as it turns out, there's no fucking way I was going to make it. When I got home, I left about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I got home about 6 o'clock in the night, and I didn't do a fucking thing all day long. I don't know if they got their cheesecakes. I don't know if he delivered them in a fucking U-Haul. I don't know if the cheesecake place was arrested. I was never really called in as a witness. But again, that was another one of the wonderful days in the life of working for that man. I'm going to need a break after that. I am totally getting ready to wrap this thing up. I love you, Crenshaw. I'm so excited for you. This is amazing. I don't know what you're doing, but I know you're going to Maui. My gigs really mostly send me out to Middle Pennsylvania. So if I can get a Maui gig, that's fantastic. Great to see everybody in the chat. Richter, Clee's sister, Kevin Keller. I know I'm missing people. I don't mean to, but I'm old and I'm upset because I'm having flashbacks from the horrible job that we were talking about. So I'm not sure when I'll be streaming again. I'm trying to hit one of these Sons of Guns every week. Richter, love you too, man. So we will get caught up again. I will review my show tomorrow night. I know I'll be fabulous. Thanks for tuning in. And here's one last thing to look at right there. Where is it? There is Crenshaw's thing. I don't know what it is. I don't see anyone Amish on that thumbnail. Why I am promoting this is beyond me because I love Crenshaw. And there you go. That's it. And that's a wrap for whatever episode this is. And I will tell you this. At a Kickstarter. That's right. It's Kickstarter. There's a Kickstarter in the link. You peckers know how to get a hold of me. You know this as well as anyone. A couple of bucks grow the pile bigger. And that's why sometimes people don't donate because, oh, my 3, 5, 10 bucks, whatever is not going to make a difference. Yes, it fucking will. And Crenshaw, when I get some money, I will give some to you. But the money I've been getting, I've just been squaring us off. Maybe it's time to get back